I thought I had a big warrant check. I haven't seen the Fox anymore over
Yeah, I
there.
mean, this is the full phase one parcel, that's what the variance.
I got 6. All right, we'll call this meeting to order and pledge the flag. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty, we have a public hearing, first of all, and purpose of the hearing is to receive public input regarding the proposed amendment to the ordinance 2024-03. Do you want to cover that, Tim? Durst property?
We previously approved the vacation of the Durst Road. However, the engineer, not the Summit Township engineer, but the engineer for a different...
And Mitchell Scott's online.
Mitchell, wonderful. Had informed us that there was a error in the property owner description and in a deed book and page notice in the particular ordinance. And so as a result, we believe that the cleanest way in order to fix the issue so that there could be proper recording was to pass a new ordinance reflecting the new numbers, the correct numbers, and then it would be recorded. The costs for the ordinance, the cost for the re-advertisement and such are being charged against the developer's account. So this is cleaning up a notational error that was in a prior subdivision plan that was attached to the prior ordinance.
And that got recorded.
I don't know, that one was actually recorded? Okay. So this will be fixing that error and re-recording. Once again, all those costs being charged against the developer's account.
All right, thank you. Any public input on this before we move on? All right, motion to adjourn the hearing.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second it.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye. All right, we'll call the regular meeting to order. Time you got there? 6:02. Approve the minutes from July 15, 2024 meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We had an executive session at 1:30 on July 31st with the attorney about confidential legal advice. Like that note. Do you have anything to add to that, Tim?
It's appropriate, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Public comment on agenda items before we move on. All right, no correspondence. Approval of July 2024 expenses.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. No old business. New business. Motion to approve or deny ordinance 2024-04, amending ordinance 2024-03.
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion to approve or deny resolution 2024-09 CFA application and signature authorization. Do you want to touch on that, Matt?
Sure. I have up on the screen our scope of work for the application. It's the Commonwealth Financing Agency, but it's part of the DCD Multimodal Grant Fund project. So we applied for a project to fill in the sidewalk gaps and add bus stops and bus shelters on the upper Peachtree corridor, on all the side streets of Commons, Rotunda, Douglas, Keystone, Downs. So the areas on the screen that are in red that we're looking to fill in, it's just over a mile of sidewalk and 3 additional bus shelters. So we need to get the authorization for signature for Mark and I to sign the application, which we've done, and we've submitted it prior to, because it was due on the 31st, and we did not have a meeting prior to, so we're kind of doing it retroactively, which we are permitted to do, so this is the first one we're looking at.
All right, thank you. Motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2024-09.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion to approve or deny 250,000 matching funds for Upper Peach pedestrian connectivity grant. Is that for you too, Matt?
Yes, it is. It's the same grant we talked about at B now and C. This is minimum 30% match, but it's one of those projects where if you contribute more match, you're more likely to get it funded. So we looked at the breakdown, and I have it up on the screen. So we cannot use liquid fuels for sidewalks, but we can use it for curb ramps and crosswalk striping. So we have a portion of that $250,000 match would be liquid fuels, which is 87,000. Sorry, I forgot to put it on the screen for the people at home. But it's 87,726 liquid fuels. We are allowed to use up to 10% for engineering, which is 40,000, which would come from the general fund from the engineering line item. So we're looking at an additional $116,618, which would come from the capital reserve, as well as we'd also look for possible other funding sources through other grants and possibly through the county as well. So that's the 200, it's actually 244,344 based on the grant amount, but we're putting it up to 250,000 for the, kind of round it out. So.
Thank you. Any questions for Matt?
On that, Matt, you had the last picture there.
Yeah, bring it back up.
The red line through the middle, is that this proposed stuff along Peach Street?
Correct.
Isn't PennDOT responsible for putting sidewalks in on Peach Street? I mean, right now, they paved from, it stopped at where you went into Sam's Club, and they extended it down to Target. How come they're not putting sidewalks in there like they did when they moved from Sam's Club driveway basically to Robinson a few years ago? It may have been more than a few years ago.
Yeah, it was
10.
about 10 years ago. And back then, they kind of did it as a courtesy. Now it's not so much of a courtesy because budgets are tighter. So we did ask them to put it in and they declined.
I thought that was part of their agenda, that when they repaved roads or reconstructed roads or whatever, they put the sidewalks in.
The only thing,
that was courtesy.
it was a courtesy. The only thing they were required to put in are the curb ramps, and they've already put in all the curb ramps across Peach Street. So that's their minimum obligation. So we did ask, and it was declined. So we went through all the efforts to put it on the long-range transportation plans in hopes that we could get it funded through grants.
All right, thanks, Jim. Motion to approve or deny?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, land development. We don't have no donated requests, do we? Excuse me. Land development, motion to approve or deny. Hanlon subdivision, index number 40-22-94-5, Jackson Station Road. Tammy?
Yes, and so this is also located in the Resources Rural District. The owners are now proposing to subdivide a 5.94 acre lot parcel from the subject 39 acre parcel. After the subdivision, the subject parcel will become 33.06 acres. Lot 1 will be served by a septic system and water well, while the subject parcel will be dedicated for agricultural use. The DEP did approve their component 1.
Good.
We did receive this plan on May 24th. The Planning Commission recommended approval on June 10th, and Erie County Planning recommended approval on
Thank you. Any questions? All right, motion to approve or deny?
I'll make a motion to approve the Hanlon subdivision.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Solicitor?
Nothing further.
Okay, thank you. Engineer Jones?
So as we did tonight, as I mentioned, we applied for the grant for the sidewalks on Upper Peach Street. That went in on July 31st. It joins 3 other projects that we currently have in for grant funding, Picnicana Playground, the Zook Road Bridge Replacement, and the Downs Drive paving project. So all those projects are not going to be considered until at least November of this year. So we're going to kind of sit and wait and see what happens. And that's all I have for today.
Thank you. Supervisors, Mark?
The only, yeah, we're working on some storm sewer right now. We've got a few little projects going. What I've been getting phone calls on lately is the Waterford Post Office, the postmaster, is requiring that mailboxes be between the height of 48 inches, or 52 inches and 56 inches. Prior to that, it was always 42 to 40, 48 to 52. So, sounds like 52 is the magic number for mailboxes. There's been several people over on the west side of town. The information I received is they have bought a bigger mail truck now. Sits up a lot higher than the old style mail trucks. And they're asking people to raise their mailboxes up. So far, it's just been in the Waterford zip code area. You know, it doesn't matter to me what height, but if you're going to set a mailbox, I'd set it at 52 and you're fine.
What was the old height?
48 to 52 is what we always posted in our newsletters, and that's kind of what we've always had on our books for as long as I can remember. But they're looking for them to be a little bit higher. The one mailbox that got the letter, he measured his mailbox, it was 36 inches. So it was definitely low. That's about it.
All right, Tony?
The guys ran some drainage up around the baseball fields this past couple of weeks. They ran about 1,800 feet of corrugated 4-inch perforated black pipe and put a few drain crocks in with it out to get some of the water off of the fields a little bit easier, faster, sooner. We had some pretty wet areas up there. So that's a nice addition. President's Weekend went, well, President's Day, I guess we'll call it now, it's Saturday only. That went well, everything went off without a hitch, and now the senior picnic's coming up Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. So a lot of picnics going on. Parks are all squared away, looking pretty darn nice. I think the girls and their helper do a good job keeping after everything. That's about it. That's all we do right now is just mow and trim and they weeded out the roundabout today. That was a big to-do. They had a whole pickup truck bed full of weeds out of that. We're gonna have to do some figuring in the future, but for now, that's what we're doing. That's really it.
And then we do have our new loader coming tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks. Did they say what time? Morning?
I'd say mid-morning, I guess it's supposed to be here.
All right, thank you. Let's see. Public input. Yes, Jim?
Hear through the grapevine out there that the supervisors are considering investing some of our money, probably that comes up. I know they used to print it on the back, and they had several, every year CDs would come due. And what I heard is that somebody was guaranteeing an extreme amount of money which sounded too good to be true, and you're always told if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Is there specific things, Lisa, that we can invest in? Meaning, I know CDs, obviously, because they used to have CDs on the back.
We're working on that, Jim, and I'll let Tim explain, but yes, there's regulations by the state on what municipalities can invest.
Just put the money in.
Yeah, and everything so far has been pretty safe and we conservative and guaranteed by the FDIC. So we're actually going to meet with a lawyer tomorrow to make sure all our accounts are up to par. You wouldn't believe it, but this day and age, we're still catching up from things that a lot of people didn't do years ago. And they didn't check on laws and regulations. They just went ahead and did them. So if nobody asks you or questions you, who would know any different, you know? And any bank or investor is going to talk you into whatever you want. My opinion, they're in the business. They're in the business to take your money and make money, just like anybody else in sales.
If a bank talked, obviously you guys are thinking ahead, hoping that you do it legally all the right way so that nobody gets in trouble or whatever. If some of our accounts were illegally invested, not saying that they are, could the bank be responsible if we got fined for something?
Possibly, but we don't know that yet. And there's a couple things that were questionable, so I'll let Tim answer that, please.
Act 72 is the law that speaks to what the township is permitted to be invested in. Essentially, it's government securities or other investments in cash that would be bonds up to the FDIC amount of insurance in banks. If it's beyond an FDIC amount of insurance, it needs to be collateralized with other assets held by the bank to make sure that the principal value for the township would never be lost. We have taken a look at the investments that the township has gotten into. One of the new attorneys at my firm, Brian Seelinger, is a CPA. He's worked in the trust department of banks. He was the vice president of a trust department for Northwest Bank for a long period of time. He has more financial accreditations in his name than anybody else I know. And he joined up with our firm earlier this year, so I've asked him to take a look at the investments of the township, put together a investment policy so that it can be addressed with the trust department of the bank, and just really kind of do an overhaul on the investments and to do that double check to make sure everything's fine. And so that process is ongoing right now.
But hopefully that policy will carry on after we leave, you know what I mean? And they'll have a policy to follow, future supervisors.
Can you make it an ordinance or whatever so it has to be followed? I mean, policies.
I don't know, what would that be?
Resolution.
I mean, the investment policy is a resolution because you want to be able to have some level of, flexibility of changing that from time to time, but, it would be within Act 72. So, I mean, we could make it a resolution, we could make it, require you to come, the supervisors to review it every year and approve it, as part of your reorganization meeting or, whatever, when we do the taxes or, whatever that is. There could be different options there. I don't think it needs an ordinance, but a resolution would be appropriate. Not many townships have the luxury of having extra money. I don't want to say extra money, but available funds for the purpose of investing to be able to secure for future use of the township. So this is a fairly unique position for this township to be in. We'll have that investment policy put into place, at the end of the review, and you guys will be in good shape. I mean, I commend the supervisors for identifying a question, and we fix them as we find them, and we'll make sure that this is done appropriately.
I'm not saying anybody here has ever done anything wrong, you never have, but you hear it. Several years ago, somebody in West County, small township, lost $100,000. Doesn't sound like a lot, but to a small little township, $100,000 might be a quarter or a tenth of their budget, which is a huge hit. I'm glad that you guys are checking on that stuff to make sure ain't losing money. Yes, you lose money if you don't invest it properly, but you don't invest it and gamble, you know. Where you put it in a high-risk market. The stock market tanked today, and it tanked for the last 4 days or 3 days of August so far, so everybody's 401k is taking a hit.
Thanks, Jim, I appreciate that, watching, because I'm not even a gambler. I've been to the casino probably 10 times, and it was to go upstairs and have dinner, you know?
I spent $20 on ponies the first year because I never went to Commodore Nats, never put a dollar.
I mean, I don't mind, but I just can't.
I worked too hard for my money.
Yeah. So, and like Tim explained, I know from being the Cato president, we have a lot of rural townships in Erie County that they have to operate within their budget because they don't have a whole lot to use, you know. A lot of them still have dirt roads and road graders, and just part of life, there isn't enough properties to pay the tax base to help cover all the roads. And we're just fortunate enough to have all these businesses, and that's part of the reason why we have the Homestead Act with no summer township tax for a homeowner since 2009. That was before our time too, but pretty rare in the state, that Homestead Act.
Yep.
Thanks. Anyone else from the public? Hearing none, motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Well, thank you for coming. We got some crazy weather here, and fortunately, we're not getting beat up. Buffalo had a tornado today, no deaths, no injuries this afternoon. Seen a video on the computer from channel 12, I think, the weather.